As an author, educator and consultant, Lyle MacQuilliam studied as a biochemist and kinesiologist. He's authored recent publications comparing the nutritional profiles of dietary supplements. His latest book dives deep into the science of aging and disease, showing how optimal nutrition can dramatically reduce your risk of serious degenerative disease. Please welcome Medical Advisory Board member and author of the Comparative Guide to Nutritional Supplements, Lyle MacQuilliam.
Glad to be here. What a lovely part of the world. I come from British Columbia, and you know, when I come down here, it's like I'm a sailor. When I come down and I see all those masts in the harbor, it's like Mecca. I mean, I can sail in British Columbia, but right now I'd have to chip the boat out of the ice. Anyway, let's talk about nutrition. I want to talk about the essential difference, because once, not too long ago, when the land was rich, when the soil was fertile, when the air was clear, once there was a time when we harvested foods that were filled with goodness. Once there was a time when we took simple pleasure in nature's bounty. But you know, our modern world, with its smokestacks, its polluted air, its polluted water, its depleted soils, our modern world is just not like that anymore. We live in a fast food, corporate food culture, depleted soils and depleted foods. And it's having a very significant toll on our health. We have virtually sucked the goodness out of the ground through years of commercial agriculture and not nourishing our soils and replenishing our soils properly. Depleted soils mean depleted foods, because if the nutrients are not in the soil, they're not getting into the plants that grow from the soil, and if they're not in the plants, they're not in our bodies. It's as simple as that. We are a nation, and I speak both of Canada and the United States. We are nations that are overfed but undernourished, and those are the consequences of dietary insufficiencies. Too many calories chasing too little nutrition. There are 13 organic compounds and 19 minerals that we know, and more that we're discovering all the time, that are absolutely required for good health. Our bodies can't manufacture them. We can't make vitamin C, for example. A dog can manufacture all the vitamin C it needs. A human cannot. We have to get it from the diet. If we don't obtain these essential nutrients from the soil and from our foods through our diet, then the only thing to do is to supplement. If we don't, degenerative disease will take its ultimate toll. Now, we see rising incidence of cancer, of osteoporosis, of atherosclerosis. These are all examples of the degenerative disease process. In the United States, we can see as people age, the amount of serious degenerative disease becomes increasingly, progressively, geometrically greater as we age. It doesn't have to be that way. But it is. Degenerative diseases are now epidemic. There's an osteoporotic bone, virtually hollowed out in the center as the calcium and the minerals have been depleted from the bone structure. There's no cure for this disease, but it is preventable, 90% preventable, through making the right lifestyle and dietary choices early in life. Prevention is really our only effective choice. Supplementation with essential nutrients early in life, because osteoporosis is very much a pediatric disease. It has its roots in our childhood. Your personal health insurance program is to choose the right nutritional, to get your children on the right nutritional products early in life and stay on them day in and day out, because the magic of supplementation and good diet isn't an overnight thing. We're too used to the, take the magic pill and get better overnight. It doesn't happen that way when you're talking about preventive nutrition. It happens over a long period of time. Your bodies have to learn to heal themselves. You have to choose wisely. And when you're looking for a good nutritional, here's what you have to look for. First of all, completeness and potency. It has to contain all of those essential nutrients that we've said are important in maintaining our day-to-day cellular health. And the levels of these nutrients have to be high enough that they do some good, much higher than the old recommended daily allowances have said that were established 40, 50 years ago. The potencies must be found at levels that are proven to be effective against degenerative disease. And we have to look at whether these formulations are bioavailable. In other words, once the tablet is taken, does it actually get into our system? Some of the nutritional supplements out there virtually pass through our systems unchanged. And when you can read the label on the pill when it comes out the other end, you know it's not doing much good. Nurses call them bedpan bullets. Well, minerals, in order to be absorbed properly into the system, are much better absorbed if they're attached to an amino acid or an organic acid carrier, because our bodies are programmed to absorb amino acids, which are the building blocks of proteins, and when the mineral is attached to that amino acid, it gets drawn in along for the ride. So amino acid chelated minerals, while more expensive to produce, are much more effectively absorbed. Mineral salts are cheaper. You'll find them in less expensive nutritional supplements, but they're not doing the job that they should. Also, look at the level of vitamin E and the type of vitamin E that's in the diet, because synthetic vitamin E, half of it is virtually no good. The body can't recognize it, doesn't know what to do with it. And we want to look for whether it contains the natural form of vitamin E known as D-alpha tocopherol. There's actually 8 different forms of vitamin E, and as we're learning, gamma tocopherol is also very, very important. Science is now finding the importance of that, and I think you're going to see nutritional formulations start to change and accommodate this other form of vitamin E, gamma tocopherol, that is found to be very effective at reducing inflammation and reducing the incidence of heart disease. What about cardiac health support? Does the product contain high levels of magnesium and vitamin E, natural vitamin E, and coenzyme Q10 that's so very important in the energy structures of all the cells of our body? These nutrients are necessary to provide long-term heart health benefits. Does the nutritional supplement contain that? Coenzyme Q10 is very expensive to produce, but you'll find that the better quality nutritional supplements, such as the Asana Essentials, go that extra mile to put that ingredient in there because it's necessary. What about controlling homocysteine levels? You've heard Dr. McNamara talking about the fact that it's the homocysteine levels, more so than the cholesterol levels, that are a factor in whether or not you're going to come down with heart disease. Homocysteine is the Darth Vader of cardiovascular disease. This very aggressive oxidant, it's an amino acid, but it's a very aggressive oxidant, does the initial damage to the arteries that the cholesterol then goes in to try to fix. Well, what science has found is if you supplement with vitamin B1, or B6 rather, B12, and folic acid, you can drop your homocysteine levels quite effectively. For those people that are still resistant, some people are resistant to lowering their homocysteine, there's another nutrient called trimethylglycine that is a very effective nutrient at bringing down that homocysteine level and reducing your risk of atherosclerotic disease. What about bone health? Bone health is a heck of a lot more than just, are you taking your calcium and getting out in the sun every day? Calcium, phosphorus, magnesium, manganese, boron, zinc, copper, silicon, vitamin D, vitamin K, vitamin C. You see, the magic of nutritional supplementation is all of these ingredients working together. There's no single magic bullet out there. So bone health requires all of these nutrients working in a kind of synergistic harmony. How about your antioxidant support? You will find that a good quality nutritional supplement will have those antioxidants, high levels of vitamin C, high levels of beta-carotene, alpha-lipoic acid, which is both soluble in the water of the liquid phase of the cell as well as the fatty tissues, a very important antioxidant, and of course, vitamin E, alpha-tocopherol. This reaction sequence is known as the glutathione peroxidase pathway. It is one of the most important antioxidant pathways in the cells of your body. Look over to the right-hand side of the graph, and you'll see hydrogen peroxide there at the top on the right-hand side, and it is being changed with glutathione peroxidase to good old harmless water. That's the whole purpose of this complex machinery here that you see in front of you. We're taking toxic hydrogen peroxide and changing it to harmless water. But to do that, we need all of that biochemical machinery acting together. We need selenium. that you see there in the yellow. We need riboflavin, vitamin B2. We need niacin, vitamin B3. We need glutamine and N-acetylcysteine. All of these ingredients you will find in a high-quality nutritional supplement. You're not going to find them in the drugstore varieties. Why are they all there? Because if any one of them is missing, this doesn't work. It's as simple as that. This doesn't work. So that is what I mean when I talk about the magic of synergy. The fact is that these nutrients work best when they work together. Okay, let's move on. Metabolic support, keeping your sugar levels, controlled sugar levels. The product should contain high levels of several nutrients that are needed to regulate glucose, reduce the risk of type 2 diabetes, chromium, for example, vitamin C, vitamin E, you see cropping up all the time. They're so important. B3, manganese, magnesium, and zinc. Does the nutritional supplement have these in them? And what about the flavonoid profile? What science is now finding is that many of these plant-based nutrients, some of these weird structural formulas you see there, these phytonutrients, plant-based nutrients that we find in our brightly colored fruits are so important in helping our major antioxidant systems do the job they were meant to do. Absolutely vital. That's why eating fruits and vegetables is so important as a way of protecting yourself against degenerative disease. And the phenolic compounds that we find in the fruit of the olive tree, the olive and the olive oil, hydroxytyrosol and aleuropine. These are very, very powerful antioxidants. There's a reason that they're in the USANA Essentials. They reduce inflammation, they quench oxidative stress, they do a wonderful job at reducing the risk of heart disease. And what about lipotropic factors? What do we mean by these? These are nutrients that kind of mobilize the fat and get it out of the liver. It helps the liver to perform its magic of detoxifying the body by removing things such as heavy metals and other fat-soluble toxins such as pesticides that tend to build up in the liver. The liver is the first mechanism of defense that the body uses to get rid of these things. How many people here have, say, 2 or 3 or more silver amalgam fillings in their mouths? Put your hands up. How many? Okay, all you guys are probably mercury toxic. You have some degree of mercury toxicity because mercury is a component of amalgam fillings. You guys should be particularly interested in taking a nutritional supplement that helps to get rid of that toxic mercury from your bodies. So you need choline, you need lecithin, you need the glutathione peroxidase pathway, because all those are mechanisms to help remove these heavy metals from the body. And what about product safety? You see a lot of nutritional supplements out there that contain high levels of vitamin A, and a lot of kids' products that contain a lot of iron. Shouldn't be. Vitamin A and iron are both fat-soluble, and they both tend to build up in the tissues, and you can easily become toxic from both of these nutrients if you don't watch it very carefully. For a young child that maybe decides he wants to get in and have a few more of the children's vitamins, if it contains iron, it can lead to real problems. There have been a number of children's fatalities from taking nutritional supplements with high levels of iron. Both of these nutrients you find are not in the USANA Essentials because of the toxicity implications. You can get all the vitamin A you want by taking high levels of beta-carotene because it's split apart and converted to vitamin A safely. Iron should not be taken along with other minerals because it competes with other minerals for absorption. If you really need to take iron, the safest way to take it is in heme-bound iron, which is like when you eat red meats, for example, or some of the iron that is available through certain vegetables. That's the safest way to take your iron. And a really important consideration about nutritional quality is how the product is made.